What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here and welcome back to another video, and today I'm giving you guys my first impressions of the Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind. So that was a nice 8-mile easy run. We just wrapped up out there testing the Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind. Really excited to deliver my thoughts on this shoe, and I'll explain a little bit more about how this shoe has come about very shortly. But nice easy 8 miles done, testing out a brand that I have never tried before. Always super exciting to do that, and I'm excited to give you guys my thoughts on how this shoe fared, because right now you can grab this shoe at quite a bargain price. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some insights to whether it might be a shoe that works for you or not. If you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the tech. So let's kickstart things by saying I've got a true to size UK 13. I'm going to talk more about sizing in my first impressions. In terms of stack height, we've got an 8mm heel to toe drop, 33mm of this Flow midsole material in the back and 25 in the forefoot. And in my UK size 13, it comes in at a nice lightweight 309 grams or 10.9 ounces. And what we'll do as always is we'll start at the back of the shoe, the heel counter area, ankle collar, talk about the tongue, the lacing, the upper, talk about the midsole, and then shift our attention to the outsole. For such a lightweight shoe, we have a lovely plush heel counter area. I'm going to talk in my first impressions about where I feel this shoe fits into my rotation, because I obviously took it out on an easy run today, but I kind of feel like it can go a heck of a lot faster. I'm going to talk more about that shortly, but for the comfort levels, I'm going to give this thing in and around the back here such a high score. It feels so nice, and for such a lightweight shoe, they've managed to get a really good amount of padding in and around there, and that sits nicely under the ankle bone there, lovely. And this just feels so snug and secure when you put your foot in there. That's coupled with a couple of other elements in this design, which I'll talk about, to give you a really comfy fitting upper. It's just been such a nice surprise of a shoe. The tongue is similar to what we've seen in previous shoes, so paper thin at the top here, like Puma and Nike. Paper thin first bit, but then after you get past there, you've got a little bit of padding. I'll see if I can show you that way. You see there, a little bit of paper thin tongue, but then after that, we've got some nice cushioning to protect the top of your foot from the laces pushing down too much. That feels really good. Lacing, great. When I went out there this morning, sometimes in new shoes, you have to cinch them up, get out the door, start running, retighten, go again, until it adapts to your feet. Not with this one, it was great. Felt as good as it did at the end as it did at the beginning, sorry. Laces seem to be kind of woven into the upper, which I'll talk about very shortly, but it was a very comfy fit. So this first section at the top here, really good. Now let's talk about this warp upper. This was really comfy and really interesting. Super lightweight upper. I can see through it in most points. There are some sort of what I would call double layer sections, just to give a little bit of reinforcement around the toe box, around the heel. But this middle section here is really nice and lightweight, and it just wraps to the top of your foot. That coupled with the gusseted tongue, I forgot to mention, it is gusseted, so that means it's attached on the lateral and medial sides of the shoe inside, which means your tongue doesn't slide left to right, it just sits nicely on the top. So you've got this really comfy padding at the back here, a lovely gusseted tongue which wraps over the top of your foot, and then this warp upper which kind of molds to your foot, just meaning that your foot feels like it's in a slipper. It's I really rate this upper. It is super comfy. So big thumbs up so far. Then we talk about the midsole. So this is a Flow midsole. I haven't obviously ever tried Under Armour shoes, so I've never tried previous iterations, or I've never even tried any Flow midsole before. So my first impressions of this sort of stuff is it's on the firmer side, but it's still actually really comfy. So I wouldn't say it's at the really firm end of the spectrum, but it's certainly, if you had soft and firm and somewhere in the middle, I'd say it's just kind of just off center, let's put it that way. But it feels really comfortable, and I tell you what, I moved quickly this morning, a bit quicker than I have done on previous easy runs. And that's just down to how comfy this shoe feels. I felt the midsole really worked with me. Now I gather there's some tech in this shoe which connects to Map My Run to give you data on your run. I haven't tried this yet. I haven't got the Map My Run app. It's something I'm definitely going to check out. Go for a run, log it on Map My Run and see the type of data it gets. So there's something in the midsole, I'm going to assume it's in and around the heel area, some kind of chip or something in there that feeds back live data or data at the end of your run, which is amazing. But overall, I've got to say, good thumbs up for the midsole, and then the outsole, there's no rubber. There's absolutely nothing at all. Now, a lot of concerns that people have when there's no rubber on the outsole is obviously durability and grip. How's it going to handle? How's it going to fare over the course of 200, 300, 400 miles? I guess time will tell, and that's where I'm going to need you guys to jump into the comments and let everybody know, if you've got this shoe, how many miles you've got and how it's holding up. But I've got to say, grip and traction was really top quality. I split the miles this morning, mainly trail, really light buffed out trails, but I did chuck a couple of miles concrete at the end there just to see. Obviously it's really dry conditions at the moment. It's not wet, so I haven't tested it in the wet, so I can't comment on whether it's slick or not. But for what I ran on today, I felt like I had really good grip, really secure, and overall really impressed so far with this shoe. So let's get into my first impressions. How did I find this shoe on the run, and where do I see myself using this shoe moving forward? So very quickly, just before we dive into that, I want to extend a massive thanks to Mike, a follower, subscriber of the channel, who's supporting the channel by sending me these shoes. It absolutely blows my mind when people do this. The generosity of some people is unreal. Mike, I've been speaking to Mike for a good couple of years now, probably even longer, and I've just built up a really good relationship with Mike. It's just someone that I talk to regularly. He's an absolutely phenomenal guy, lovely chap, and he's reached out and asked to send me some shoes, and I've obviously said that would be incredible, thank you so much. And he has sent me these shoes to test, which is amazing because I saw these were released last year and I've seen some really good reviews on these shoes, and I've got to tell you, I have not been disappointed. So I'm really grateful, A, that Mike has sent me these shoes, and B, that it's allowed me to share my thoughts with you guys, especially seeing as these things are right now on a really good price because the second version has just been released. So a massive thank you once again, Mike. You are a legend, and I really appreciate your support. So let me give you guys my thoughts on this shoe. How did I find it? I blooming well loved it. It was such a good ride out there this morning. Now, I don't think I've done this shoe justice, to be honest with you, because I kind of feel like I alluded to earlier, this is quite a lightweight shoe. I took it on an easy run. I reckon this thing can move, and this thing is going to get a good old test probably next week or the week after on one of my workouts, I think, because I feel like this, well, easy running might not be this shoe's sweet spot. I have a feeling this could be a moderate and a speed work or a tempo day type of shoe. Just by the nature of it, I just wanted to move fast in this shoe. It's just the nature of it. It felt so lightweight underfoot, which was great. I love the feeling. I love the upper. Yes, sizing. Let me just mention very quickly. So I have half a thumb width at the end of my at the end of this shoe. Normally, I like to have a full thumb width. So I'd recommend if you wanted. If you want room, I would half size up, maybe even consider sizing up. I love the snug fit of the upper. It feels great and it wraps to my feet. Some people like it a bit baggier, then I would definitely recommend full sizing up. I don't, I like it as it is, but I will say in terms of length, if you're doing a lot of ups and downs and your toes might be jutting against the edge, do consider maybe half sizing up in this shoe. Hasn't caused me an issue, but it's just something I was aware of this morning testing out. I thought, that's something that I need to mention to you guys. But overall, I've got to say, what a shoe. And I've never tried Under Armour. I didn't realize they made such good running shoes. Now I'm interested to check out the data, and I'm gonna definitely do that and see what that's all about. And I'll do that at some stage. But right now, I think just straight off the bat, coming fresh through the door this morning, having only run a couple of hours ago now, I've got to say, I really loved it. I'm going to test this on faster paces. I think it might be its sweet spot a little bit faster. I think like with the Velociti 2 that I've just been sent by Nick, I feel like they're definitely going to be easy and moderate pace shoes, and I feel like this could be moderate and maybe tempo shoes, so I think there's maybe a bit of a crossover there, but I feel like potentially with the lighter weight that this shoe has, it's a big benefit to it, and I feel like that might be lending itself to up-tempo to tempo type of work. So overall, I've got to say, massively impressed by this thing, really surprised, and has made me want to try more Under Armour shoes. I've got to say, I'm really, really impressed. Now, I found this shoe online for around £83. It's at the moment, I think you can maybe get it cheaper, but at the moment it's on a discount because version 2 has come out. So if you want to grab a pair, I definitely recommend trying them. If you want something relatively lightweight, relatively comfortable, nice and snug fitting, if you like that sort of feel, definitely a shoe worth checking out for sure. I've got to say, I'm going to be logging a lot more miles in this thing and excited to hopefully get this thing up to the 100-mile mark and see how it fares after that. But that's where you guys come in, because obviously this is last year's model, so I'd love to know if you bought this last year upon release, how many miles you got in this shoe. Let everyone know in the comments below, and more importantly for me, durability. How's it holding up? How have you found it? Where is its sweet spot paces? Give us some idea, give us some feedback, and it would be great to hear from you guys. So that's it. So that's my first impressions for the Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind. Really impressed so far. Good positive start. Excited to log more miles in it. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, please do make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.